be sold just the way it is, as a large single parcel.
Can I just ask a question, it's kind of a step back? So why did you have to get a variance? Why couldn't you have lot average?
It didn't work out with the calculations.
We
I
had
had-
done
I
the
had-
calculation, I'd have to go back and try to
Um,
look through my notes to find the
Because-
calculations, but we had looked every way we could,
Right.
and that was the very last.
Because this is a prime example of why we allow lot averaging, is to allow little lots with homes to be spun off of big lots, and as long as the balance, you know, that there's a restriction, and since the whole thing's restricted, that.
But we had
seemed like-
other problems.
Yeah, well,
So-
so that's just another thing, hopefully write a note, and, you know, why, I'd like to know why it didn't work, and should we look at our lot averaging stuff so that this situation would have worked? I mean, that's.
It was close, but no cigar.
Okay,
So
all right,
I'm
all right,
talking
all right,
about-
okay, so,
I think in general, the reason, when easements are given like this, I think in general, the idea is to keep the house with the land so that in the future, somebody that would live in the house would actually farm the land. I know our easement is written that way, you know, we can't subdivide our house off of it. So I think that's why it's written that way in the easement, even though it says it can be done, only in exceptions, I mean, it can be done, but in an exceptional circumstance. Some of them are written, you can't do it at all.
Yeah.
It says at least exceptional.
Compelling reason is what the AG likes to see, but, you know, with all due respect to the land trust, I mean, you have to give them $500 to talk to them because they don't have enough budget to consider your request.
But I just want to say that, I think in general, that's why when easements are given on farmland or whatever, there's a house, they try to keep the house and the farmland together, just so years ago, somebody can live there and farm.
I think that's a great idea. I would just, don't want my socialist colors to come forward. Basically, what it turns out to be is that most people end up having a Bedford, New York estate, with lots of land subject to a conservation easement, a tax break, and a house that takes advantage of the open land, whereas I would beg anyone to try to make a living on these 100 acres and support a farmhouse. But that's only my socialist tendencies coming out, which I apologize for. It's too late. Unring the bell, right?
Any questions?
not about the general thing, but you want comments on the.
Anything you have to say?
Anything I have to say, okay, so I have like two little problems with the plan that you gave us. One is that this says a survey instead of subdivision plan, and the other says, there's a note here that says this is not a separate lot. We want it to be
We
a
would
separate
want
lot.
that, we would change that, it's, the
Okay.
work is all here, we weren't gonna ask the surveyor to do, Chris Rollins to do it all over again if we ran into any kind of trouble.
Right, so so the plan would need to be modified, the other, it looks like Julian Tyler's name is spelled wrong in the notes, it's Julian instead of N, so I forget which note it is.
All right.
Okay, so since you're gonna be changing it around, you can change that. So it should say something like minor subdivision plan on it.
Hmm?
And it's, note 5, the second Jillian is misspelled.
Note 5,
Yep.
okay. It's all right, I spell Marcellus different ways all the time, I'm never sure.
Yep.
Nope. Nope, number 5.
Yep.
She's a Jillian with a G, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah, but she's that not a Jillian, Can you get my glasses out?
Okay, so Vicky, the two things were
Yeah,
directing
so-
Jillian Tile and adding
Right.
minor
It should
subdivisions.
say minor subdivision,
Mhm.
plan for reviewing trucks, and then over here, this says not a separate lot, and what we wanna do is make it
Those
so
are
that
the
it
three
is.
things.
Yeah, and then this little thing which shows it to be part and parcel, that should be removed, that backward Z thing. Yeah, have a subdivision plan.
Minor sub-
Okay.
And I think we also require that the lots be numbered, is that true, David? Like,
You have the lot number or?
A or B or
Yeah,
1 or 2, so
Yep, we can.
Okay.
just a label.
It gets required, but half the time the tax assessor doesn't use those. same one, so it really,
Yeah.
Let's do it by the book.
And which would you prefer? The homestead lot being lot one and the open lot being two? Does it matter?
doesn't really matter.
That sounds excellent.
Yeah, I would think that would be.
While we're on the map, the one lot, 404, 14, is that, I used to know the Bay owners, so that lot that sold to Claire McLean, because in the butter, it's listed as Bay Miller, and then on the map, it's listed as McLean.
Yeah, I think it's sold recently.
Right, so if we are gonna update it, which we will, we'll find out.
Yeah,
We'll
update
find
the
out who the
butters.
owner is, right.
So what happens if Claire McLean is not notified of the hearing?
They would not be, it'd be the actual landowner is what, I didn't catch that the wrong person was,
Who is the landowner?
it's whoever's on the notice list.
It's still Bay owners?
I have it,
Because I know they moved a year ago, and I didn't know who was in that. I assume since it's open.
It's just open land, isn't it?
No, there's a house there.
Jim?
I think there's a house there.
Bay Millers?
yes, Tom Kent's over there.
Tom Kent, Bay Miller's house.
You're right, they're on the notice list, is Kimberly Bay Miller and Michael.
Right.
Yeah.
Chuck,
I know they,
Hang on, everybody, who
I
is it?
think Chuck knows.
What's the correct answer?
Webster has bought Bay Miller's, which was Kent's.
Okay, so it's now Webster.
Peter Webster and Mary Lou Alexi,
Okay.
they're man and wife.
So were they notified?
I don't
No, it
know.
was Bay Miller that was, if they bought it, it may not have come through yet to us. We're usually 6 months behind
Okay.
in getting that information.
What was Mary Lou's last name?
Alexi, Alexie. She's head of Hopkins Center.
All right,
I should know that.
so
I'll behave myself.
who's Claire McLean though?
nobody knows it. Do you know who Claire McLean was?
Yes.
Do we know
Did
what?
you ever hear of Claire McLean? No? You did?
Long ago?
All right, so she shouldn't be on there at all.
Oh, Claire McLean?
Yeah,
Well, her name was connected with Tom Kent.
oh, okay.
But
When
since
Kent
Tom
was there.
Kent doesn't own the property
Okay.
anymore, she's not connected with it.
Okay. All right, so we cleared
Ask
that
some
up.
questions.
I would understand that one better.
Did you have more?
No, it's not entirely clear to me, but,
Well, let's follow up what you have.
does it matter?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, the applicant is supposed to check the tax records 5 days in advance of the notification or submission of the application, so I don't know where the information came from.
Yeah, I've met these folks recently, and I know they just moved in not very long ago, so
Okay.
consistent with what you were saying within the last few months.
I think Chuck and Elaine, their neighbors know them.
So the only problem is they can get notified.
Well, it's, you know,
Because
I
you
can only,
you didn't have.
I don't have the record yet. It doesn't, what happens is if a sale goes through, the deed gets sent to Grafton County to the registry. When the registry gets a certain number of them, they will send them back to the town and we'll update all the records. If I haven't gotten that back, I have no idea.
There can be a 2 or 3 week delay just in getting it back to the registry if you send it up there.
Yeah, and then like I
So,
usually see about a 6 month
so can
delay.
we proceed with the understanding that they were not notified?
As far as understand, you use the best records you have, and
Okay.
if something has changed, then, you know, you've made an attempt.
Is it possible that we, whatever we decide tonight, we add a condition that the new neighbor be notified, so we can't do that?
Yeah, I have no way of knowing.
To be notified so that they can attend the hearing and comment on it.
Unless there
Was
was
it
a way
mailed
to
to the
write.
address?
So
They're mailing it.
my question is, can we proceed?
My opinion is that every attempt has been made to notify all the current abutters. There is one that is new, and, you know, they have not come into the town offices to say that they are there. We've not gotten anything back from the registry of deeds. So we have done everything in our power to notify everyone.
Is it the board's will that we proceed on that basis? Okay, I don't hear any objections.
It's just uncomfortable. I don't
I'm
know, I don't know how to
uncomfortable
say
too,
it. I just feel as though that if, since we know that it's changed, that we should make that attempt to get the right people involved.
But I think David's right, the town.
No, I think we've done our sort of due diligence, if you will, except for the fact that now we've learned that there's a gap.
Right, I mean,
Well, the thing is, we
We've probably
could
done this
go
before.
through this and then,
Hold on, let's
we
have,
could go through it and postpone our decision until they've been given their formal notice.
so we can make sure the
We can go
checklist
through
is complete
everything,
and go
yeah.
through everything
Yeah.
and hold the final decision on the day.
Right, in case they've got
Okay.
anything to say.
I would
about
just say it may be difficult until we get the actual record back from Grafton, because if their mailing address is not the same.
David, couldn't we just make a specific request to the county, for the county records? Could we just, could you go with
I don't know if it's even,
But
if a deed.
I
we
have
have
Peter's
somebody-
email.
somebody
I've talked to
who-
him.
Yeah, right,
I know
right,
him.
we have somebody who knows them.
So I can call him.
If
Let
you
him-
know
let
him,
him
then yes,
Yeah,
let
happy
me,
to.
But
And
that's
I saw Mary Lou last
that's
weekend,
not legal notice, I mean, it's
or
not,
no,
so what we need
ask
is
him
their.
to get me his address. and
You
I
can get
send
the
it.
No, have them get in touch with you, so that then you know that they've been noticed. I mean, a lot of it is just, you know, wouldn't you hate it if you moved in
Yeah.
and you found out
Yeah.
that, you know, a month after you moved in, something changed that you didn't realize was there, and I think that's
I
just,
understand.
it's just.
Okay, so we'll proceed on that basis, and we'll get everything done that we can get done. We have one member of the board in the audience, just would like to make sure that you're aware of that, that's Rich Brown. And, did you have anything you wanted to say, Rich? No. Okay. All right, so, okay.
So, I'm concerned about when you said that there's 2 years that could go by before the fee, land got transferred to the
The
conservation.
zoning board said that they approved the subdivision on condition that the conserved area as a separate lot be conveyed to the Upper Valley Land Trust, and that had to be done, if at all, within 2 years.
Let me read the verbatim. The condition is, the 100-acre lot must be conveyed to the Upper Valley Land Trust within 2 years of approval, period. The variance shall lapse if the subdivision and conveyance does not take place.
Okay. For some reason, the way you
No,
said
I
it,
don't-
to be,
I don't-
well, just so I can explain myself, so it sounded like what I heard was that there was a 2-year window where something may or may not happen, and I was concerned about that 2 year.
It's either or,
So, no, what you read, the shall,
yeah.
it clarifies it to me. I didn't want to have this window where in 2 years, someone could come in and say, hey, I want to go and buy it and build it out.
And also, let me just explain to you that there's really nothing you can do with conserved land anyway.
Nope.
Even if it's a separate parcel, because easement still remains on it, it would be up to the land trust, I suppose, if they wanted to waive their interest, but they would not, because if that interest also
No,
extends.
I think it's very clear cut, it's either or.
I'm good.
So
Okay.
within the
Thank you.
2 years, within the 2 years, and then somebody else could come along and buy the whole thing.
Someone could come along and buy the whole thing tomorrow, as far as
But-
that
but all
goes.
the-
And we may have, we may have an approved subdivision, which we might wish not to pursue.
So you would have the option, even with the approval, of just letting it lapse after the 2 years?
I think if we found the right people who were responsible stewards of the land, we would let things go just the way they are.
Okay.
One of the reasons the land trust was interested is that they were concerned that the owner of homestead property was just one extra step that they, if the homestead owner was not the person who was farming the land or whatever it was, that's simply one extra step where the owner of the house is responsible for the compliance of the tenant farmer with the Upper Valley Land Trust. The land trust says it would not be easier if we took that homeowner out.
All right, are there anything else that we can get going on the checklist? Going once, going twice, all right, so we are now going through the famous minor subdivision checklist. I'm sure it's a fan favorite, everybody loves this. It's mercifully relatively short, but here we go. Names and addresses of each of our map. Well, we're off to a flying start. Well, I'll put no, but to come. Okay. Names and business addresses of every engineer, architect, land surveyor, or other consultant whose professional seal appears on any submitted document. Yes. Topographic map, drawn, sand scale, blah, blah, blah.
It isn't
waiving that?
technically, it's a waiver.
So, did Chris Rollins get a,
Yes.
because he's not on the list?
What's it?
The application right here.
No, I said
They
Each
asked,
of these. are-
they asked for a waiver.
Oh, I know, but it's right in the packet.
Right.
They're asking and what the board decides.
There is a rough topo, the one taken from
So
2000.
the board wants to waive this on what basis?
It's all flat.
Okay, all flat. I have to put this in here, or it'll come back to, okay, conservation district maps, size per requirements. Anybody?
Was it a waiver?
Okay, and because?
Because,
Most of the land is in conservation use.
Is that
All
good?
of it is.
All
I'm
the
talking about
acres.
is.
When we do the waivers, I have to put in what the basis is, so I need the board to give me the reason why.
well, why can't we have, why should we? I mean,
Why should we what?
why do you think? Darrell always has good,
No, again, I have to get over it. I'm looking at mine, and I'm pulling up the ZBA application or something right now.
why shouldn't we show the concept?
Yeah, it's the water, it's the riparian.
Well, if you
Ag
look at the
soil,
survey, you will see where the streams are.
Well,
And
the
if you're
real
working
question,
on riparian, I'm sorry?
for me, the real question would be in the, if you subdivide it out, and now you have a separate lot, what are the allowable uses on that lot? We say nothing's gonna change, but the conservation districts would speak to what may be permitted or not permitted.
We did submit a copy of the conservation easement, the lengthy
No, we're talking
conservation
districts
easement.
within the town. Right, so we're talking like,
Right, I mean, the conservation easement is so tight on it that you can't do hardly anything anyway. So I don't know,
that's more reason why it should be shown on the plan as to what areas of it are subject to
that end.
to that restriction,
Okay.
to the restriction. Because, for example, if you're in a shoreline zone, you can't do certain things to expand your footprint or whatever, you just need to make sure you know those.
right. But that's addressed somewhat in the conservation easement also.
No,
Yeah,
but
but
this is talking about
this-
town requirements, not the easement is totally separate from the town requirements.
So do we want that shown, or?
Chris should be able just to plot that on his map.
All right, what's the board's pleasure? Can I have
This
a,
is the surveyor, he's gonna have to do a little bit.
If there's any overlay, they should be shown.
what's the consensus to show? Okay, so the board wants, so what do we want?
Just these, the conservation districts,
So I'm on B1, is that a no?
let's be one.
It's not shown, so it's not, and then just put a note that it
Yeah, but
needs to be added to
we've
the.
got 7 of these in D, which are, the first one is size and requirements of Grafton County Registry of Deeds.
Yeah.
That looks right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a yes.
Yeah.
This is within the conservation district now. Scale no smaller than 100, we good with that?
This was a little larger,
One inch is
yeah, but that I think you can.
yeah, I'd rather see it on one
I
sheet.
think we're really just talking about.
So,
Wait, wait,
Larry,
so
let me,
we can
I
see
have
it
to
on
go
one-
through all of
yeah,
it.
Waive it so we can see it
So
on one
waive
sheet.
because it's sufficient, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Complete boundaries and area of entire parcel and proposed lots.
Yep.
It's sufficient.
Is, what? Is it, that's,
Sufficient.
that's,
No, they have.
they have it, so that's a yes.
Yep.
Location of zoning district boundaries, which is, that's what you were talking about?
Yeah.
It was only districts, it's all rural.
Well,
Well, it's
right.
like-
Oh, no, you want the, okay, so that's a yes, we have that.
That's a yes.
All rural. And then the Lyme, this is what you want.
That's fine, yeah, that's it.
Lyme Conservation District boundaries and acreages. So this,
Should be provided.
provide, okay. Soil types, including legend, etc.
I don't really need soil types,
We're not
you know,
changing anything.
if
We're not
we
changing
show what the ag district is.
Just
we'll
put
just
not,
put ag.
not applicable. Okay, surface water drainage ditches and swales.
They show water, a water feature.
Yeah, that's, I think that's adequate.
Then we're asking
No,
for
they
the
just show.
wetland, we're asking for the conservation district, so that would cover wetlands and all
Yeah, that would make sense, yeah. Okay, so that's a yes, right? We got
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Subdivision layout map of the lot size average of the lot. All right, subdivision layout map, that's a no, because that's, right, going to your point, Vicki, that,
Yeah, just like they need to change the labels, and so
Yeah.
that's to be provided.
okay. Site survey map size per requirements of Grafton County Registry of Deeds. Scale no smaller than 100, weight sufficient. Be prepared, signed, and certified by surveyor. Complete boundaries and area of entire parcel, North Point, bar scale date, we're good with that.
Yep.
Existing and proposed street right-of-ways, dimensions of tangents, chords, radii, etc.
This isn't a road.
What, the old Orchard Road?
No, that's not a
That's
road.
not right, no.
But that's not a problem.
No, we don't need that. I mean, it is surveyed on the outside. We
So,
don't need
so
that.
we have, so this is a yes, right?
Yes,
Okay. Existing and proposed lot lines,
yes.
okay. Location of existing and proposed easements, including old wells, water rights, rights of ways, and areas affected by existing and proposed covenants, reservations, and restrictions benefiting or burdening the property.
We have a shared driveway.
And there's, right, and there are well rights of corner near the crates.
Okay,
The lower corner there.
so we're good with that?
Yep.
Location of existing and proposed parks and other open space and significant natural and human-made features.
Not applicable.
Location of existing and proposed utilities, wells, septic systems, buildings, drives, parking areas, stormwater, drainage lines, drainage structures, and drainage ways.
Location of existing and proposed, so this little bump here, I assume is the well for the existing house. It's kind of like just a little thing which maybe we can't see the W inside of it. That little, by L16, there's a little dot, is that where the well is?
And the stone,
No,
look
it's
here.
a whole well. Okay, so
There's-
where's the current well?
Current wells right near the south of the house.
So closer than where?
Where that black dot is, perhaps? South.
Yeah.
Right, right, yeah.
Yeah, but the old well is.
Well,
The old
no,
wells are-
the existing wells are right here, but I don't, the old well.
It might be helpful to have a somewhat larger scale drawing, even if it's fairly rudimentary of that lot, where you could put the septic and the well on there as a separate drawing. It doesn't have to be on this one, but even as a separate drawing. That's pretty compressed. And that's a lot we're really talking about here.
What's the board's thoughts on David's point?
I'm happy, but I'd like to see the well, I'm happy with it as it is without
You
having
just like,
separate
you just like to be well identified as what it is.
I wanna
if
see
that
it's
is-
located to make sure it's on the lot.
Right.
And if not, I wanna see that there's an easement for the person who buys Corolla's house to
Sure, that's
repair,
right.
All right, so,
maintain, and access the well.
Vicky,
The
in
question is, this is
Just
the
look at the
driveway.
well.
It's-
in brief verbiage,
Well,
what do you
it's
want?
off the house.
What do you
We'll locate the wells, Chris can do it easily enough if
Yeah.
that's not it already.
Show location.
Existing well location.
And the septic as well.
I
Septic is
think
shown.
Yeah, septic is shown,
That's
no, no, 14.
rectangular.
Oh, okay.
Rectangular.
I think the septic is, I mean, it's on the lot.
The septic is shown.
No, I see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's would be.
No,
You don't need to.
No, it's okay. But it-
Okay, yeah, I think all we're gonna need to do with the well is to identify that black dot, to confirm it is the well.
Could be.
Okay.
Yeah, and I thought it might be.
That's all we need.
I wanted to hear you say yes,
It's
it
just,
is.
it's so compressed.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If that's what you'd like to hear, yes, it is.
No, I wanna know that it is. No, it's for the new homeowner, and I really appreciate,
Yep.
Dave's, like, idea about doing an inset, but, I don't know, I don't think it's gonna show us anything more, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, as long as we have on the plan that it's shown, that in a way that is
Right.
binding,
Right.
that's
Well, the
good.
meets and bounds are here in the little L's, table, and so, yeah.
All right. Location of zoning district boundaries and area of each lot in each district if property in more than one district. If you know,
So, rural.
not applicable, all rural. Name and address and map and lot numbers of every abutting owner of the property. Well,
Except for the one
yeah,
to be provided.
to be corrected. Site location map showing location of proposed subdivision in relation to the general area of the subdivision.
It's there.
Okay. All surface water on and within 200 feet of the site, including rivers, streams, intermittent streams, lakes, ponds, marshes, wetlands, areas of high and moderate groundwater favorability, et cetera, et cetera.
It shows the.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, yeah, I guess
Right
that's
here.
right. Big part, yeah, right.
There are no ponds
It's
up
not
there.
really.
Right, and then there's the stream that goes through,
So that's a yes.
yes.
Okay. Property setbacks according to table 5.1. You got that?
I don't see any setbacks.
Okay,
Ask
so
for a waiver.
why would we waive that? Do we need it?
I don't know, I mean, I'm assuming that you already checked to see if all the outbuildings are.
That's one of the
in line.
reasons for the variance was because the lot coverage exceeded the existing size of the lot. So there can't be any more development on the lot without the zoning board giving another variance.
So I'll put waive C variance. I think that's
Yeah,
sufficient.
yes, yeah. Although, is there a setback problem as well, or no?
There was one,
This little shed,
yeah,
Like the
the shed,
L15
yeah, L15, that shed was, and that was part of the variance.
Yes.
So that's
Okay,
covered
Okay,
in
so
the-
all covered,
Okay.
okay, good.
Final plat, okay, we don't have the final plat, so that's
That's to come.
to come. Lot size and density calculation, provide.
we can.
We can do that, I have all
Dredge
that,
it up again.
we did that for the zoning board.
So we don't have that yet, but.
I have it in the file for the zoning
Shall
board.
I answer as a yes?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, sewage disposal, all proposed sewage disposal
Yep.
plan.
Yep.
Yep, 12's there, and then the construction approval. Do you have that plan in the file for the septic system?
May or may not, I haven't looked, at that date, that's kind of the end of when you we started getting them, all of them, so, for the beginning, so we may or may not.
So, is that a yes or not?
It is shown,
It's shown,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, in addition to locating the existing septic system and submitting a statement from a septic designer as to its condition and adequacy, replacement leach field must be identified. We have that?
That might be shown on the septic plan, as they would usually show an alternate leach field area. That's why they assumed the plan, we had that.
So, what's the answer?
I don't know, I mean, most designers even back then would have.
do you want me, I can very quickly go see if we have it.
That'd be good, I mean, any buyer's gonna wanna have that
Jane
plan.
Darrett, isn't it? Jane has.
Okay, we take a pause.
Yeah, catch your breath.
We think we have it at any rate, we think the broker has it.
Well, we'll get to the bottom of it.
Yeah. And if not, you can just bring it in.
Yeah.
And show us where the alternate leach field area is, and sometimes they'll say it needs to be replaced in place. So that's what the designer says, that's what.
Rich, I'm not looking up a lot, so if you do have anything, just
Okay.
clear your.
So I don't understand, why are you sitting back there?
Yeah, why are you all the way back?
Because I came in late and I didn't want to disturb.
Okay, why don't you bring a chair up?
All right.
Here's a chair right there, just sit there.
Daryl doesn't.
Yeah, you have to sit next to a lawyer, but.
That's okay, that's okay, I know a lot of lawyers.
That's better.
Fine.
Well, what's new?
You ready to go?
How are the Yankees doing?
Yankees? Yankees are doing okay.
For the one Yankee fan.
I'm not completely sure about this notice to the new owners, Peter and Mary Lou, right? Mary Lou, right. Because you indicated that notice now doesn't really correct
No,
anything.
we'll send, David will send it out
David's
so that there is
gonna
a proper
contact them
notice.
so that they can contact David.
And ask questions.
And-
Oh, all right.
If they have-
Rather than come back to whatever it's going to be.
Well,
Okay.
I
You
think,
found it,
I found it.
okay,
fantastic.
so,
There's another copy of it, Paula.
all right, so that has the,
Called it an alternate leach field.
No.
no?
Say replace in place. Who did the design?
Clarice Clough.
Oh, yeah,
Long ago.
yes. She did a lot, she was very busy.
How old is it?
2000.
Which doesn't seem like all that long ago, but actually
It's 20 years.
I know.
I do not see any note,
Where was they,
No,
20 years
I've
ago?
got shoes older than that.
Where?
Oh, yeah.
Is that what Jane is?
I've seen woman, she did it. But I think, she is, this one cut out. I think that was because it wouldn't.
Paula, what was there before you had the real, this new leach field, what was there? Do you remember?
In the river.
Oh, good. Nice job fixing that, though, that was good.
There had pipes to the spring and.
Huh.
In Maine, we used to call those overboard, they still have them in the state, actually, overboard discharges. And they've been replacing them, and a number of them still exist along the coast. Hundreds of them.
I think I talked to,
What?
More than that.
I talked to the guy who was her plumber and he said that they couldn't tell her. They could,
If the rule is there, or if there is no replacement here, you replace the place anyways?
Not necessarily, I've seen a lot of replacements where they've moved them to a better location,
If it's possible.
if it's possible. There are a lot of times it is noted on the plan that, if there's no other place, then you have to,
Do it again.
you have to dig everything out and,
All right, so what do we have? A situation where we don't have a replacement area indicated?
no.
So,
I hate to be a horrible person, but this is a really small lot, and I think it's important to know where, you know, I don't know anything about the soils. You've got a little bit about the soils. I assume they're good soils.
I'd have to go through and,
Could, yeah, I
they,
mean.
you know, she does have them, you know, listed right here on the table.
Right, so to know.
I don't think you're being unreasonable at all. I
Okay,
think
well,
We can get you an answer.
Well, just to say, could there be an alternate location for a leach field on the proposed small lot? That would
Right,
be-
or if the land trust is so interested in the property, they could possibly give us an easement for replacement.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I did miss it. In case of failure, system will be rebuilt in place.
Oh,
Okay.
so,
good.
so we have it.
We got it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good-
Moving
good
on.
sleuthing.
Provide results of all soil tests, including dates, locations by reference to Conservation District map for ablation.
I have all the soil on the Grafton County.
All right, surface water runoff, sediment, and erosion. Provide plans to control surface water runoff so as to protect surface water quality.
It's not a problem. We don't have anything to do with that.
Preservation of significant natural and historic features. Identify.
Done?
What's that?
Already done?
So we're done?
I mean, that's done,
So it's a yes.
yes.
I'm just looking for yeses.
Yes.
All right, I'd like to announce we're on the final page. Hold your applause till the end. Most recent deed to the property is not on file with the town. You have that?
It was in the packet.
Yeah, it's in the packet.
Okay. All present or proposed easements,
Yes.
covenants, that's a yes?
Yes, we have it, exhibit C.
Okay, and national flood insurance requirements. Is that an issue? Well, this is by the river, so I assume it's an issue.
Yeah. I think you have to with a mortgage. I had a mortgage and I had to pay flood insurance for a long time, then they stopped carrying.
Okay,
So it was available.
What was
Whether,
it?
flood insurance was available in that zone.
Okay.
Is the requirement, no, the requirement is not though that it be
Well,
maintained.
it's what we need here is provide all relevant information as required under section 4 of the subdivision regulations, which is, let's see what section 4 says.
Well, we're not supposed to do subdivisions in the flood, certain flood zones.
Right.
Have you guys looked at
This
that?
is one of the odd things about this subdivision too. This is basically putting the imprimatur on something that's existed for 20 years.
I know, but it's like the FEMA rule, so, we've got to disclose subdivisions in the flood zone to FEMA when they ask, I guess it's in your reporting, but.
Take a look at section 4 and answer.
Yeah. But it seems like, couldn't we just get a printout of the FEMA map, because that's got a narrow photo base, and we'd see if the house is in,
Yeah, I can,
what zone it's in, so does that mean that River Road is all in the flood hazard area?
I'm not, it's,
Pretty high bank there.
right, that's, give me 5 minutes and I can
Okay,
tell you if
okay,
it's in a
okay,
flood zone or
okay,
not,
okay,
that's,
okay.
Chuck, you have to have flood insurance?
Probably doesn't have a mortgage.
Oh, yeah, you don't have a mortgage, right, so you're gonna have to do, okay.
All subdivision-
Right.
all subdivision proposals and other proposed new
Well, that's
developments.
really great.
Hold on a second.
It says all subdivision proposals and other proposed new developments greater than 50 lots or 5 acres, whichever is less, shall include within such proposal base level flood elevation data, this is not neither of those.
Right.
Necessary permits shall be required. General This minutes determine that all.
Well, won't that show up as a conservation easement district, the flood zone? Yeah, it'll show as a district when that gets given to us.
The other requirement
Yes.
is all new construction,
Yeah.
substantial improvements, which there are none.
Right.
So I don't think there's really anything in here that applies.
It's the 100-year, well, they use the 100-year.
We do it
Right.
as in our conservation
You want it,
overlay
John?
district, so that
Oh,
will
which
show up
number?
then.
Number 4.
I think you're on the
All right, all
floodplain.
necessary permits and all
The
subdivision.
White House is in the
sufficient
floodplain,
evidence.
Brick House is not.
Adequate drainage. I don't see, yeah, I agree. I think everybody on board should just take a look at 407 and make sure they're okay with it.
Page 25.
I'm waiting for my copy, it's circulated.
I know that it's coming with the conservation overlay district. All I care about is like that the new owner might know that they're in a flood zone and gonna have to get flood insurance.
It is in fact in the flood zone.
The
Yeah.
house is,
Yep.
how far back does it go? Is
The
whole
flood
lot?
zone basically goes right back to where the driveway curls.
When the driveway curls, I mean, is that,
So,
Halfway, everything, the entire house would be in the zone,
I
right?
see it,
so basically the shed will probably not be in the flood zone,
yeah,
but the driveway when it curves up to the north and over to the house,
yeah.
from there to the river is in the flood
Yes.
zone.
So,
That's probably why the leach field is up there too.
Yeah.
So far away, so it's out of the flood zone. Yep.
so I can answer this, how? No
Yeah,
or
yeah.
yes?
Yes, because we have the information.
Okay, so we have information.
Yeah.
All right, congratulations, we have reached
Who you
the,
congratulated?
myself.
I thought.
We've reached the end of the minor subdivision checklist with all sorts of notes on it. So I would like to make a motion that the checklist be deemed complete with the exceptions as noted.
The application.
Yes, thank you.
Checklist is.
Yeah, I just think in terms of the checklist.
I'll second.
All right, there's a second, all those in favor? Right, all voting members in favor, all opposed, it is unanimous. Okay, so we have public here who have patiently been sitting through this ordeal. Is there anything that now is your chance to say what you might want to say?
Just listen.
Okay,
We
good.
just came to support Corolla.
Okay, well, that's important to hear, so, thank you.
If for public, I'm gonna pass around an email I received from another abutter. If you just wanna take one and pass it around.
You wanted all of them, I know.
And just a note of support also.
Horace Enriquez. Okay. So, is there any other discussion at this point? Any other discussion at this
So,
point?
well, I just had a clarification. So if the Attorney General's office or subcommittee doesn't approve, then it just goes away.
We've just gone through, right, that's right.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
They're likely to approve if the land trust is behind it, it's just until now, the
Right,
land trust.
And-
is not.
and I also know that they're really behind. I know they don't have enough people in the office, whatever. So if it goes more than 2 years, if they don't even approve within 2 years, that'll be a
I
problem.
think we would come back to you if it looked like it were,
Well, it's the
or
variance.
the land.
Don't you have to go back to the ZBA?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
hopefully it'll happen within
Yeah,
2 years.
well, I think they're not so busy that they wouldn't get back in 2 years.
I don't know. The variance, if it wasn't exercised in 2 years anyway, would
Lapse.
lapse.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
I think ours, whatever we come up with should include, be consistent with the ZBA's time frame.
Right, and there is an issue, there's a date of decision on that one, there's a date of issuance of the decision, which date are, which.
What did
date
they
is
say,
controlled?
what is the verbatim?
We always use the date of the issuance,
Issuance, okay, great.
so that gives you a little bit more. Sometimes it takes me a while to get the chairman to sign, and
Yeah,
I think it's unfair to.
we're not gonna run that,
Yeah,
we'll have
and
it
so
sorted out one way or
is the
another.
UVLT has said they're interested, or?
Oh, they've said they're interested, the details have not been, is it a gift, is it a sale, is it, what's it going to be?
Oh, so it's kind of vague,
Ultimately,
it's vague at this
It's
point.
not a
And
commitment.
The board,
What-
That's
what's it?
exactly it.
What,
the board, apparently the board, Jeannie Renter doesn't dare say without board approval.
oh, of course, yeah.
And it hasn't gone.
It hasn't gone up. Sure. Okay, what's,
So can we
anybody?
continue this to another meeting?
Yeah, so
after-
the idea is we pretty much have covered the territory, and what we can do is continue this to the next meeting if that's enough time.
Yeah,
Would that be
so-
enough time?
Yeah.
2 weeks.
So David, get in touch with me.
Yeah, I thought I could find him on my phone, but I couldn't, so when I get on my computer, I know I got an email. or
Okay.
Some communication from him, I gotta find it.
All
Are
right.
they
If not,
living
if,
there?
Are we?
Are they living?
They're living there now, yeah.
So they might have a street address.
They're pretty mellow people, I can't, I mean, I'm being purely speculative, but I would have a
well,
hard time imagining.
the point of this isn't, we
Exactly.
can't make
Just-
assumptions about.
You just wanna reach out to them,
Yeah.
and nobody wants a mad neighbor.
No,
I'll tell
no.
you that.
It could be a land use lawyer, who knows? Either
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
you know,
no, God,
so-
God forbid.
God help us.
All right, so what we'll do is continue this on the assumption we can do this in 2 weeks.
One is, it's deemed complete, but for the checklist items that are missing, they have to be here in 2 weeks.
Well, yeah.
The question is whether or not we should be having Chris Rollins change the Mylar. I don't know if I can do that in 2 weeks, or the survey, the additional information we want.
If you'd like to
Okay.
make it in in 2 meetings from now, which would be about 4 weeks, that's entirely up to you.
Please schedule us for the 2 weeks. I'm here, you're here. I'll call Chris in the morning. I don't think, for example, I'm quite certain the well is the well, and there
Yeah, we
are
just
things
can't
we
see
talked
it.
about are nothing right.
Yeah.
So I think we can do it.
And if it turns out you can't, you can let David know, and he'll just push it back 2 weeks.
So can we just summarize the well, the label, at the title block, and then the label on the lot? And then
Jillian's
we give
Okay,
the
you're
two
going
lots.
too fast, so let me go through the list I
Okay,
have.
okay, good.
Minor subdivision plans should be
Yeah.
shown, correct Jillian Tyler's name, show separate lot, etc. Lot numbers, update a butter to Webster and Alexa, is that
Webster.
the Lexi? And did you have something additional? Show the well,
The conservation.
Thank you.
show conservation district.
Yeah.
Overlays, and show the well, or
Yeah.
I don't think we put that on there, but while you're.
indicate the well.
Showing the floodplain line, probably not bad.
That would
Well,
be.
that's under the
that would be under
conservation.
Okay, then that'll cover it.
And we were asking that they indicate where the well, or do,
We will.
It could be that it's this, and if not,
But,
they need to show where it is.
but we need to be articulate about what we're asking.
I wanna know where the well.
Show where well is.
On lot.
And that looks like a W in there, do you really squint at it?
I know, but I can't be sure. It's
Not
my-
good. I know.
my whole
Could be a
life.
benchmark too, probably.
Right.
Does it matter if Marcia goes to the stand? Because he's
not-
dead, but.
Right, so the butters need to be updated.
Yeah, well, we need to change it to, he had a trust, it's under the trust name.
Oh, on the survey.
On the survey, yeah.
Not the butter, right, the survey.
Do you have all the things that we just read off, do you want me to read them to you?
I think I have the title block, minor subdivision, showing those separate lots and numbering them. Update Claire McLean to the present owners, Alexa and Mike, whoever's name is. Show the well location on the lot. Show the conservation district line.
Overlays,
yeah.
overlays. And correct Jillian Tyler's.
Yes. On note number 5.
And I think this was included in the lot thing, but there's 2 places on here where it says not a separate lot. And
We'll take care of
those will be
it.
removed.
Yeah, that, and there's a little hook that goes between the two that needs to be removed.
Backwards page.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, will we see you in 2 weeks, please?
All right, well,
I
thank
think
you.
so. Thank you very much.
All right.
Peter and Mary Lou are very nice, so you should go over and say hello.
We are not coming to it, right?
I'm not gonna, I'll hold up the new maps. They never go back together with those.
I'd like to get that.
Any next one, please? Did you say?
All right, if we can go on to the minutes. Does anybody have any changes to the minutes they'd like to make?
I just had,
The typo?
There's 2 copies, right?
We'll give David a chance. David, Robin a chance.
Yeah, let me just switch gears here.
All right, we're not going anywhere.
Thanks again.
Okay, thank you.
Good night.
What do you got?
yeah, I think I make it. Just a type of page 2, 3rd line from the top. Maybe you said think out of that.
Derek noted, finishing, oh yeah, take out in the third line. The dot.
Hold your mess. You, Jane. Papers.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to move the minutes as amended by Tim. And we need the people who are here to vote on that, so Vicky seconds. All those in favor?
So, John, let me ask, I had.
Wait a second, was that, so is this, do you want us to stop the vote?
I want to ask when the proper time for me with my applicant hat on.
Well, do
That would
you
be
want,
under
do you
old
want me to
business.
stop the vote? Is-
No, I do not want to.
Okay, so we can go ahead with the vote?
Yes.
Okay, so, second, all those in favor? All those opposed? You're on, go ahead.
Good. So, thank you all for.
Are you speaking as
I'm speaking with.
as an applicant or a board?
As an applicant,
Okay.
yes. Thank you all for looking at the lot line module application. I apologize that I wasn't here for that hearing, but I'm glad that you came and approved the decision. I wanted to talk about one thing that we disagree with, the wording of the findings.
Okay.
And so I know there's a discussion about inadequate versus limited access for
Yeah.
emergency services. I think that the wording of finding 3 is.
I don't have that in front of
So
me.
I can read it to you.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so at present, there is, this is the final decision, at present, there is inadequate access for emergency services, especially during the winter and early spring. I know
How would you
that-
describe it?
Pardon me?
How would you describe
I
it?
would say limited, or.
You need to walk to it, or what does
you
that
can-
mean?
So, let me explain what I mean. I would say it's limited, especially during the winter and spring, or to use the word, the phrase that actually is down in finding 8, it's inadequate during winter and muddy spring conditions. Because finding 3, as you read it now, makes it seem as if it's inadequate all the time.
Well, there are 2 to the cabins that you can't drive to? You do have to walk?
I don't,
One's out by the boulders, out past the boulders?
you can drive most of the way to it,
You
and
can't
But
get
that's
there.
not all of it. I can just help with the color behind this, because we spent a lot of
I
time,
know, I mean, Phil
time.
described that.
And Phil agreed to it was back and forth between limited and inadequate. And after we went over everything at great length, Phil definitively agreed that inadequate was acceptable to him.
Well, how do we resolve the difference between finding 8, which says vehicular access for emergency vehicles, is inadequate during winter and muddy spring
Well,
conditions?
I would say that that's a specific item, and the other is a general item.
Why would we say, why have the difference?
Well, if I was gonna make a change, I would stick with the inadequate and add, take out the seasonality
Isn't
there.
the difference the word during?
I would be immediately content to say that it's finding 3, it's inadequate for emergency services during winter and early spring. Not removing the word especially. Because that's substantially the same thing.
Do you have a
Yeah,
copy
I
of
can
this?
get a copy here.
Why don't you let everybody make a copy for everybody? And we'll take it from there.
This is a problem
Because it says that we are agreeing, the applicant are agreeing that access for emergency services is
no,
inadequate at all times.
that's our determination.
That's our determination.
It's not yours. We require you to say that because we've got a
Yes.
note from the fire chief that said, probably can't get there. That's inadequate. Well, that's what he said. We can't change that. He was,
That's not agreed on what I.
well, he
Well,
said
I
he
mean,
can't get there.
rather than get into an argument about it, what I would refer to is we have this out with your lawyer, who's your representative. And Phil agreed, everybody who was here heard it. And I'm not forgetting it because we went on probably a half hour just on that point. And he agreed to it.
And I will say that, with a statement like that, not to put the blame on any particular person who evaluated it, but, knowing that it is problematic to get there with emergency services, and what our job is to ensure that subdivisions are safe. We needed to cover ourselves. People might buy those units, people might stay there, and our firefighters, and all the equipment that might get stuck in the mud or slide off an icy slope because there's not a real road.
Well,
We felt that was covering our approval of your proposed subdivision.
and that's what you've said, you don't have the paper in front of you, that's what you said in finding 8, and I'm content with that. And what I'm asking is to say that in finding 3, the access is inadequate during winter and early spring.
But you said if we took out especially?
Yes, that would do it.
Well, all right.
I don't know if
We can't just
I don't
change
think it's
that
a
without
negotiation
having
at this
a-
point. I think,
we have to have
first
a
of
hearing
all,
if
we did this, and Phil was here, and he acknowledged and agreed to the findings weren't a mystery to Phil.
You're gonna make copies
Well,
for
the
everyone.
appropriate way to change this is for you to appeal the decision or, or, I don't know, do we have modification of subdivision, is that a thing?
Not that I know.
Okay, 'cause
So what are the 2 numbers that you're concerned with?
We're looking at finding 3
Uh-huh.
and finding 8.
Okay. Well,
Well, I don't know why especially doesn't change.
No.
If we took out especially, it would be.
I still think from a process perspective, that I think Vicky's on the right track. If there's something with the applicant, and this, you know, what Rich is proposing now, if there's something that he wants to, I guess, object to, or change or
Yeah.
challenge, that has to be.
That has to go through the process.
Right.
We can't do that
Right,
here.
right.
But I also really don't get the problem, but just curious. At present, there is inadequate access for emergency services, especially during winter and early spring. And then in 8, disclose the following: residency prohibitions, vehicular access for emergency vehicles is inadequate during winter and muddy spring conditions.
I see a difference in the two statements. but
Okay, and-
I agree with the process.
Well, we don't have a choice, that's how you change.
Okay, so if you want to change it, what is the process that he has to?
There's a 30-day appeal period from the date
I would need a letter from
that we took action,
you saying that you wish to appeal.
and then we need to notify all the abutters and have a hearing. Actually, no, wait a second, appeals of a planning board decision go to Superior Court. So you need to, yeah, they do, because only the zoning board appeals go back to the zoning board.
Yeah, but the zoning board, the only time you appeal is if you feel that the planning board did not interpret the zoning correctly.
No, well, we have the Church of Christ in Hanover right now, and I promise you that if you are aggrieved by a decision of the zoning board, it goes back to the zoning board, but planning board decisions,
Right.
because we have IPF, go to Superior Court immediately, so,
Yeah.
I
Right, no, that,
unfortunately happen to know, with that.
I'm saying, appealing to the zoning board does not,
Right,
you
right.
can't appeal this to the zoning board, because it's not a decision based on a
This does
zoning.
not go to the zoning board, it
Yeah.
comes back to us, so, but in Hanover, we also have, if I don't like the conditions of my approval, I can come back to the planning board under the guise of a modification subdivision approval and have them
But we don't
reconsider
have,
the conditions.
we don't have that.
Well, I don't know if he wanted to come back to have us reconsider his subdivision, then.
Well, but
Yeah,
how does he
but-
do that?
Well, he's got only 30 days to appeal this decision, so I think they have to
30
be
days from the signing,
from,
or the,
I don't know what the statute, I'm pretty sure it says
All right, well, we
from
have to
the
find that
date
out.
of approval, which would be, like in.
I mean, I'll just, whatever your concerns about this, at the end of the meeting, David went over the language in these findings with Phil. And Phil agreed that they were acceptable to him.
And we're not imposing any additional,
These are findings.
any additional conditions. The condition that we're imposing is that you need to notify, which is the one that you agreed to, which is 8.
Right.
Number 3 is not a condition, it's
just
we're
a
getting
finding.
down to trying to define a fairly squishy phrase, which is inadequate access,
Yeah.
which is not a legal definition, it's not a,
So-
it really comes down to nuance of how that leaves an impression on him. And I don't think that's a legal hair we need to split.
I don't either. But
As
he's-
as a finding. If it was a condition that was gonna cost you money, as in saying, you need to go build roads so that every cabin has roads, whatever, which we can't do, then I could see why you might be aggrieved by that condition. But in this case, we're just making a statement.
Exactly. It's a
that-
finding,
that
not a
is-
condition.
Right, so
There's a
I
big
really
distinction.
feel like it's
But you are free to do what you want.
So the point that I see here, condition 3 is, as I.
It's not condition, it's a finding.
Thank you, David. Thank you, David. You spoke. Finding 3 makes it seem as if all the time, it's inadequate.
Well,
Access
I
is
would
inadequate.
say it is,
And-
compared to the access to my house, it is very inadequate.
This was also
So,
part of the conversation,
we found-
as I recall it, part of the conversation, and I'll also say part of working through the process with different opinions on the board, was was finding a way through. And this seemed to be the sweet spot, as I recall, and both with the board and with your attorney. And I'll reiterate what David Van Wee said, which is that these are findings, these are what we're saying. These are not impositions on you. The conditions are impositions.
Okay.
Somebody can disagree with it.
Well, and I will say, I proposed, at one point, I threw out limited access as an alternative.
You did.
And it got turned down.
It got turned down after much
And
discussion.
quite frankly, I don't think there's any difference whatsoever between the two of those. I've played wordsmithing rules and writing laws, and a lot of times it's just trying to get people to sort of get over their queasiness or whatever.
Well,
And
I
don't
think
limited access
that
and
is
in-and-out
exactly the
access
point.
mean
That
anything
is the
different.
process that we went through, and that was how we got together, including your lawyer.
Hey, David,
So,
we should not be giving Rich legal advice, because he's got a very compressed time frame from today, and you need to talk to your lawyer if you wanted to, if you have a problem with our decision.
Okay.
So I'm pretty certain you go to Superior Court, but I'm gonna leave that to you and your lawyer to determine.
thank you.
I don't wanna give legal advice, 'cause I'm not a lawyer.
And I think that also then covers the last thing that Phil suggested, which would be a modification to condition 1, which again faces the same hurdle that you, in the open hearing, in the public hearing, you've made the decision on condition 1.
Yep.
And that it's not possible for you to make that change at this point, am I correct there?
What was the problem with condition 1?
So it would be to ask that you modify condition 1 to state that ensure that finding 8 is addressed instead of ensuring that the agreed to findings were disclosed. Because the finding, see,
I think when you look at the, it says the agreed to findings, and the only agreed to in the findings is number 8.
That would, let me just, I think I see what you're saying, that we are only agreeing to, we both agree on the items in finding 8.
Whereas it's the agreed to findings, and those are the only
Okay.
findings that are agreed to by both parties.
So condition number 1 only requires you to disclose finding 8.
Okay.
Whatever is that.
All right, good.
Well, I mean, I actually,
I mean, they're
I'm
public
not,
record.
I'm not so sure, I'm not so sure about that. But in terms of, that is definitively shown as, you know, you could argue that. But my recollection is that all of this was discussed and noted with your lawyer, and he felt that all of the findings were acceptable with him. That's my view of it.
And in his notes to me, he said that he was under the impression that the phraseology that he came up with is vehicular access. Vehicular emergency access is seasonally inadequate, e.g. summer and winter and spring conditions. And that's what he thought. the
Would go
agreement was.
where? In
Throughout the
eight?
document, throughout the document. It's in 8. 8 is substantially,
You know, that was one week where we could really have used your camera. This is really,
You should have left it for.
Yeah, you should have left it for us.
You know, I certainly was thinking about that.
okay.
So say that again, you read vehicular access for emergency vehicles is inadequate. How did you want to?
So, let me read it again. His notes show that it says vehicular emergency access is seasonally inadequate, e.g. in winter and early spring conditions. Which is what it
So you put it
says.
That's what it says in
seasonally.
8.
Yes.
That's what it
What's the difference
says.
between
What's the
winter and
difference?
spring?
Well, no, we don't have it seasonally.
Right, but we
I
say
mean,
what the seasons are.
Yes,
winter
right,
and
I
spring.
mean,
So-
that was the notion of the phrase that he thought everybody agreed to, and that,
Well, this is what, you know, I don't have.
This is what it is, so.
This is what was, I remember specifically at the end of the meeting, I didn't look at the findings, but David had findings. And Phil leaned over and they went over the findings together,
Okay.
and David said, I don't know, it sounded like I'll give you a copy or something.
That's, you know, what I sent you.
So, he had the findings.
so had he not thought about, I think I understand, this, these findings and conditions are those of the board.
Yes, they are.
And so our only choice is
Talk to your lawyer about what your choice is.
talking to
Yeah.
We
Right.
can't change that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this was, in my
But you need
my
to do-
understanding,
you
this
need to
was
do it
agreed to.
soon.
Yes.
Oh, it's 30 days from filing, which John has not signed it yet because
Oh,
So
I
it'll
was
be-
gonna sign it tonight.
I was having you sign it tonight, so it will be 30 days
30
from
days
tonight.
from now.
Oh, you got it,
So-
you got it. all
So,
summer.
okay, so I wanted to clarify that, so that I want everyone to be on the same page there.
So you have 30 days from,
And then, there are some things in the narrative of the minutes of the meeting on the 13th. That,
you mean our last meeting?
no, not the 13th, this particular hearing. There's some.
Wait a second,
Yes.
which meeting? Is it the last meeting or 2 meetings ago?
2 meetings ago.
Okay.
So, there are some things in the narrative there that I would like to have. We've only seen this since yesterday. I would like to have some time to prepare some responses and have it incorporated into the minutes.
You weren't there. How can you say that?
Yeah, you weren't at the
there.
meeting.
You can't tell us what we said or didn't say.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm
that
sorry.
doesn't make any sense.
You might have wanted us to say that or think that, or your attorney to say that or think that, but you can't say that.
Okay. Good. I am done. I don't want to
Okay.
take any more time with this.
Okay,
Thank you.
let's go back to the agenda.
Yes.
All right, we want to get onto the build-out, and I hope to finish that up tonight. Hope springs eternal.
Was there another package, you were gonna send out another, when we did this one
Yeah, I did
way
have,
back in the lab?
I have more in at my desk, but I did do another
Okay.
version.
I just don't wanna be working off of it.
We got like 3 or 4.
I did miss a meeting.
No, we have more than that.
No, we got more than that.
Like
We had more than that.
No, 6. No, we had.
Well,
I can't
Said
remember.
we were gonna have a big.
It was a healthy start, because in 10 minutes we got what we
We did, we got many more than once we got in the groove.
We got
were
many
just
more than we had
cruising.
any
Well,
right.
We started on page 7, right?
I do have, let me grab 2 of the copies, yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should, we'll figure the packages, bring David, and Rich, just
Right.
brief up the speed of what we're doing and where we're headed.
Let me just skip ahead to what was the number, the rating number 5s and 6s or something?
All right,
No,
I'll
we
tell you in a
crossed
minute.
out 5s and
I'll tell you
6s.
when I get there.
We are on page 7.
Page 7 of 12.
Yeah,
And we had gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 properties.
2188. Right now.
Oh, that's,
20188.
Well, that's up here.
yeah. Pleasant Street?
Right here.
Good bracket.
Right, no, I don't see it.
Is it?
That's correct.
Completely different color scheme.
Absolutely. And it's actually not. What you're seeing is, there are no more that fell into this category
Oh, okay.
with the change. So the color scheme is the same, it's just,
Oh, you just knock some back.
some of them get dropped back down because of the change in septic.
All right, so we're up to 20188.
Hold on, let me get to my,
Is that correct?
I don't know whether it's Maracas. So, to bring David and Rich up to date, we decided to use 750 square feet, if I recall correctly, as our unit size.
Kevin, would it be possible that for you to have the vision system up and running, so someone can quickly hang up the tax cards?
tag team.
I mean, because we may wanna know, property comes up.
Yeah.
GIS.VGI,
You can just go to the town
you have to go to the
website,
assessing department.
assessing department. Yeah,
Okay.
assessing data.
Could I get a quick cliff notes on the column headings, please? Not the one I get.
Gallons per,
Okay.
GPT is gallons per day, max lot coverage is the calculated maximum lot coverage.
Yes.
Frontage is the calculated road frontage.
Yep.
Lot coverage is the used lot coverage on the lot.
So it's the actual built lot
Yep.
coverage, okay.
Area is the area of the lot. And then the rating is basically taking all the other ratings
you
and
can do address, so click on
Yeah.
address.
averaging. So I took,
So you
you
can
know,
do,
right.
So gallons per day, max.
Lot coverage,
201,
road
218,
frontage,
let's start with,
or,
So
yeah,
that's, which one are
Yeah.
those?
lot
That's-
coverage
you have
and
to-
then the area.
He'll know which one to
that's
use.
the map.
David, with the lot numbers, is it that the,
Count number, MBLUPRD?
Yeah, MBLU, and then, but when you put it in, you have to put in,
A blank field?
yeah, the first, it's, map block and lot is the MBL. So you put in the map, leave the block, empty, and then put in the lot. Do you want me to show you one?
I can kind of see.
Okay.
20188. So, just to review what we did, if, 201,
Just put 201.
And 88 right here. And then enter, the search it.
this is about
And it'll come up with that, and then you just click on the address, and it'll bring up the full record.
Is that the one we're looking at?
Yeah.
Is this your last name?
So Brock is supposed to be right next
we have
door.
a meeting in 2 weeks. I'll be, no,
Oh, no, you'll be, oh, so you'll be here, oh, so you'll be here.
I'll be
Oh, so
gone.
you'll be here
What's
for
that?
that.
Is that in the number?
Oh, so you'll be here for
Yeah,
that.
I'll be here for it.
I forget what the prospectors were.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so what we had done so far was 20155, we had a question mark. 20170, we had
I should, they decided to drop anything, that was 0, 1, or 2. So,
On the rating column.
right, on the rating column, so they're starting to go through the threes.
yeah, the 20155, we had a question mark. 20170, we Xed out. 201, we could do 3 more with a conversion, I think. Or maybe that
Yeah,
one.
it's 3 more plus a by
Through
conversion.
conversion. 201, 127, we have a question mark. 201, we could do 2, possibly 3,
The 2 and 1 conversion.
2 and 1 conversion.
33,
Yeah, 20133.
I had one.
Yeah, that was 1 by conversion. What was the 2 for? The 2 was,
I got a +2 there, I don't know why.
because what I have is 2 plus 1 conversion.
I have 2 plus 1 conversion. What's the 20133?
Oh, yeah, it's how many there would be, okay, I know what it is. So 2 is, it's plus 1 conversion, and 2, there would be 2 on the lot. And 201, 126, we had 6 plus 5 by conversion.
Yeah.
So, this, and 20129, we had 6 plus 5 through conversion. All right, so,
Can you tell me what that notation means?
Yeah, I'm a little
okay,
bit in the dark.
you mean the 2 plus 1?
Yeah.
Okay, so it means we would end up with, if, for instance, with the 20129, we would end up with 6 on the lot. 1 that's there, plus 5 by conversion.
So I believe that the building was large enough to handle a 6-unit conversion. And so you have 1 there, and then you would get
Oh, it
5
is
more.
5 more.
Yeah, all right, so we're at 20188, let's move this along as quickly as we can.
It's fit a lot of kids in there, so.
So 20188, what do we have? We have 611 gallons per day. Anybody know that lot? If that's,
Prince, is that your?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be just south of the library.
No,
no, 20188, up by
No,
Baraka.
that's, that's my Wickham's.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm thinking Prince in the wrong
The other
Prince.
Prince, the little
Um,
Prince, little deep Prince.
I'm gonna say that that's probably his, that's the one that has Baracas and
Right.
a residence. There's a lot of land up behind that's covered in automobiles right now that could be considered a junkyard by the select board, but I won't go there.
No, it's not the same lot.
It's not the same one?
It's the one next to it.
It's the one next to Veronica's.
201.
I believe that house and the large house, and Baracas is on the same, are on the
I
same
believe
lot.
that's true, because when I went through the housing,
You must be thinking of 20187 though.
Well, we're working on 20188.
All right, well,
No,
let's-
that says, Matt Prince is not out in Veronica's property.
did you find 20188?
Yes.
Whose is it?
Not Prince.
Okay, it's not Baraka.
It's not
All
Veronica's.
right, so
Robert Lee was the owner.
Robert Lee was the owner of the one that went with Baraka's, as I recall. Baraka's and he had a, I can't say for sure.
So it must not, yeah, so.
What's on the?
Can you do a
the-
Google map and
No, I can tell you right now
Street
that,
and see what's
looking at it,
there?
Baracas is
Are
further down,
you-
because
Drive
Baracas
down
is.
the road.
Are you on there?
I
Are
could
you?
be, yeah.
Because
Two
Wickham-
oh one 88, can you just see what's listed on the property?
What do you want me to listen?
Okay, so we say, go
Scroll
down,
down.
scroll down and
It's
see.
not Baracas lot,
Okay.
because when you look at where,
Living area and house,
Baracas is almost across from,
occupancy, single family.
the road, leads over to,
So it would, it would say
Okay,
two.
so we need to know, what is it? Is it just one?
South of Brock.
Is there any other property, any other house on that property? It's just a single property?
Just it says occupancy 1, single family.
Okay,
So it's south of Brock.
It's
Yeah.
all right,
It's
so it's got,
got a barn, a garage, and a lean-to in addition to the house.
it's got presently 6,000 square feet of lot, maximum lot. Is, the 6,000 is present, or,
that's the maximum lot
Maximum.
coverage that's calculated.
okay, so they've got
They're
611.
using what,
So
half of that?
that's one, really only good for one, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't go any more on that one because the lot, it kind of goes up in the back, towards
so
the back of the sand pit.
That's an X, right? We can't do anything with
No
that.
more.
Yeah.
Okay, 201-111. David, just remind me, what did you assign as gallons per day per unit?
300 is the,
300?
yeah, because you have the base plus a single bedroom.
Okay,
Okay, 201-111 is here on High Street, and there's a 111-1 and no, sorry, yeah, 111 is on High Street.
Yeah,
It's right behind
North of the
88.
fire station?
north of the fire station,
Yep.
so,
north of the dome.
okay, but, so I just wanna go back to 201-88. If that's 611, we still don't wanna do anything with that because of, it's too close?
Topography.
Topography.
Okay.
It goes,
Okay,
if you look on the back side just behind the house, it goes right up
okay,
to get up behind the sand pit.
okay, so 211.
We couldn't convert that house to,
Or it's not even sand pit, it's actually the cemetery.
Yeah, well, so that's the question, so you couldn't convert that to 2 because of the 611?
You can probably convert it to two, I don't think that you're gonna get much more for septic, you know, even though the numbers,
You consider it too close?
yeah, I just,
All right,
that,
so we'll leave that
that
as
hill
an-
goes up.
Okay. 201, 111, just going by gallons per day, maximum we could get is 3 units on there. What's on the ground?
It's 18 High Street,
So the house right down
It's going to be,
Callahan's and Charles Reagan, so Charles Reagan's.
no, Charles Reagan's on the other side.
So how many square feet is the house?
1608
1608.
living area.
So could they add on and
here. 750 and 750 is
1,500?
1,500, so
They
they
could easily do
do
one,
it, +1 conversion, right?
as is.
Yep.
But I'm wondering, could they expand and do more?
Well, their lot coverage is about a third of the maximum.
Say how many acres?
Yes, it does. We have, well, it's the area, it's 76, so it's about an acre and a half.
1.8.
do you have a picture of the house on that, Jim? Just, it's facing the,
It's the one with the plastic tarps on the.
It was, yeah, actually, they've got mulch, and the gardens are
really?
beautiful, but
Yeah.
not, the plastic's still there, but all the other gardens are looking pretty good.
just to the north of that house, there's a large ditch that goes
There is.
down through between them and the highway garage.
Yep.
So we should stick with the one?
I would stick with the one
Okay.
because it does drop off.
So it's +1.
Conversion, yeah, two, via the one conversion. Okay, I guess really the significant number that we're looking for is what we're getting with the conversions. What we can add, not the total.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. Okay, 201, 125.
That one's just up here on High Street.
Cook. The owner is Cook.
Yep,
A lot of cooks.
it's fairly narrow, but it goes back. I think the,
How many square, what's the house?
It's,
This one?
Lot coverage is 20.
1344, it's relatively small.
Relatively small.
yeah, like I said, the property goes,
1.56 acres.
yeah, it goes back. The lot's very narrow.
Would they be allowed to expand?
Yes, you would be able to take the building,
Just a little
How is gallons per day, 22, 24?
That's a lot of gallons per day.
because of the, if you look at the, it's a relatively flat lot, and it's all well-drained soil, so that there's not a.
So that's the maximum they could put in? Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's the maximum lot loading for the lot.
Oh, okay.
I
So,
can't guarantee that that's what you could get
so
by design, but that's,
would
They
it,
don't have enough frontage to,
so we should probably just do a +1 for the conversion? Or could
yeah.
that be,
I mean,
because 750 and 750 is 1,500 is under 1,600.
yeah.
But he said it's 1,300 square feet.
Oh, 1,300? Oh, then they would have to expand by 150, could they expand by 150?
yeah, they could absolutely, because the lot goes quite a distance
Okay,
back.
+1,
Plus one.
conversion. Would that be conversion, or, I guess, or they could,
Expand.
ADU?
ADU.
I think you would have trouble fitting,
Is that, they have 1,300? Is that what you said?
13.
Square feet? They could
Yeah.
add on and,
yeah, you could do an ADU, it'd be, you
Would it
could
be-
squeeze it in to get it.
I guess
Within
my
the
question,
setbacks.
is it by conversion or addition?
they could add on
I
an
think they could-
addition and then get it to 1,500 square, you know.
And,
To convert?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so it's by conversion. Okay, 20187,
So what is the,
that's 125,
right, but what's the
+1
plus one with?
by conversion.
Okay.
And that limitation means you get one additional unit by conversion?
Yeah,
Yes. and they would have to do, to have 750 square feet for each unit, they'd have to do a small addition, which
Right.
they've got lot coverage for.
So they could make their footprint bigger,
Yes,
and then,
yes.
And then
Their biggest limitation is it's a narrow lot, so you're not going to be able to expand outward.
they just would need another 150 or 200 feet, or whatever, 300 feet. All right, 20187.
Is that correct?
It is
Yes.
technically quarter mile of real estate.
Does that include the house?
Well, it's 26 and 28 Pleasant.
Right, so it's,
The
it
house
is,
and rec.
It's
That's
a
a
house.
Robert Lee.
No, but that house has got more than one unit in it.
Right.
Yeah, it does. The Lee house
So
has.
it's got 3 units in it right now.
Yeah. So we can't add any, we wouldn't be able to add anything because it's 884.
yeah, I think you would run out of septic real fast.
They're already pushing it. All right, 201-124.
It's the number of units, not number of
That's
people.
going, that's the next one up from here.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
next to the, just south of the town garage?
No, just
Right here.
right here, if you go the next lot up.
You can see that
So
blue.
what's the undeveloped part?
That's where we're on right now.
What we're sitting in?
Yeah. The lot for this building, there's that brook out there, it goes onto the other side of the brook and up to the driveway. So this lot is fairly large. Okay, that one, what's the septic? Yeah, it's pretty low septic. They have a mound system in their front yard.
Well, it says
They
2,300.
got 2364 showing.
Yeah.
There's an out system.
That would, yeah.
What I would argue with that one is that the water table is high, or shows up high, just like it does
So-
on the Rusty's lot.
So should we just nix that one?
I would say that that one probably doesn't have a lot of,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, 201-14.
It's on Dorchester.
14.
Oh, so it's on Market Street.
Market up at 15
That's,
Market.
that's your neighbor.
Donald, yeah, it's right next to Cynthia's.
Ellsworth?
It might not be marked on this map. Or
It's
14?
14.
201-14 is blue.
Yeah, it's in blue.
Yeah, just across the street, just
Oh, there's.
before yours.
Why is it blue if it's 3 on here?
201-14, that's.
Oh, no, it's not, it's next to the blue.
Yeah, it's not. but that's-
Right,
it's,
okay.
201-14.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's not the blue one, it's the,
Oh, there.
Oh, it's behind the blue one?
yeah, it's an odd little shaped lot, so the,
What's the blues number then? Oh, blues are not numbered.
yeah, the blues are not numbered. Yeah, it's,
That was a song by Delaney and Bonnie.
Okay, so it is,
No, it's not, the blue one is not.
14
it's
is
not the blue one.
Denby
That's that
and
green
and
piece is
Boswell
just-
Place,
Right.
and the
right above.
Leachfield situation's bad.
All right, so
Yes,
that's
that's very bad.
Yeah, so,
Moving on.
but they already have 2 units there,
That's
because they have
fine.
the hen house is
right,
already 2
which
units.
I wanna rebuild and.
Okay, let's
try and
not,
get some septic done for that.
let's keep this rolling. 201-80.
So that was a no?
That's a
That was
no.
No.
20180 is going to be the one directly across from Rocco's with a fence around it.
Oh,
25 and 27 Pleasant, Avenger and Whitcomb.
Yeah, so that's,
The one that's
There's.
right in front of the Habitat for Humanity.
Right.
so that's got theoretically enough for 3 units. How many, what's on there?
On, we got single family on 25,
How many square feet?
a little over 2,000.
And then there's another house, and it's single family too.
201-80 shows you're at 0 lot coverage.
yeah, that,
Is
there's a couple that,
Vacant lot.
where these numbers came from the Upper Valley Land Trust, not the Upper Valley Lake Sunday Regional Planning Commission. I used their numbers from there,
That's not right. Zero lot coverage.
I think because they were.
Pretty small.
You
Yeah,
could have
but-
0 lot coverage.
It's negative.
No, I'm just, I I know there's not,
Right, but I don't know, there's a building on the lot,
yeah.
and so it can't
So
have zero
what
lot
are
coverage.
the-
sorry.
What are the two lot coverages? I mean, square footages?
So I'll give you this, now since I pulled up the second building, so I gave you the other one, I said a little less than 2,000, right?
Yeah.
And this is the one behind it,
Yeah.
that newer building behind it, and its living area is a little under 1,200.
So we could probably get an extra one on there, because you got the 600.
Again, though, you have, you could do a conversion, I'm thinking of the right,
It's the habitat.
right, the habitat given, and then is it the,
This is
the white colonial that sits up close to the road?
That's
No.
on the fence, and
That's
really.
The one with the fence, okay,
Garden.
right, okay,
You're thinking Charles Bronson.
right, that's where I wanted to make sure. There is a fair amount of, and I don't know where the property line is, but between that house and Charles Balch's house, again, that stream that runs next to Baracus comes out there. If you look down in there, there's a huge area of
So
wetland.
you don't think they could do a conversion, adding an extra,
I think you'd run out of septic real fast.
Well,
well, you could do an ADU.
she could, that's a pretty big house, Stephanie's house is.
So you can probably do at least a conversion on it, but I don't think,
would say a plus one, yeah,
Okay, so plus one by conversion,
yes, in that one, in the bigger house.
is that acceptable?
yeah, that's perfectly acceptable. I just,
All right, 20179.2, whatever that is.
It's right behind 80.
Oh, okay. Whose house is that?
Oh, that,
Oh, that's Charles and Russell Balch, yeah,
that's the old cave
yeah.
that's in the back.
Yeah,
No
okay.
frontage.
Again, no,
Really old cave.
zero frontage?
Oh, it's a back lot.
Yeah.
Back one, okay. 20179.2 gallons per day, plenty of gallons per day. Lot coverage 6686.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so there's no more that's above what's allowed.
Okay, so that's the next thing, because they're already, exceeding,
Yeah,
right?
they're not, yeah.
Yeah. And there's no frontage, so
Well, what
that's
about
nice.
conversion?
Pretty small.
No conversion?
House.
It's a small house and no conversion?
What is the 6,000?
Yeah, what's the coverage coming from, if it's a small house?
There's a big barn.
Yeah.
So-
Way in the back.
The question is, can we, how about there, can we put septic in there, because the barn could be converted, right?
Yep. To one.
So you could get
Going to
one?
Wait 5 years.
Right, let's do a 5-year.
Yeah, we can't, well, could, I don't think I don't wanna get into 5-year wait. Or do it, do you?
I think it's pretty.
I don't think anyone does.
Yeah, let's say plus one,
Yeah, I would say plus one.
201-100.
It's over Dorchester, 19 Dorchester, Colin.
Near Michael Whitman.
Yeah.
Well, that's got nothing, and it's got, doesn't, 157 gallons per day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that, and behind it goes straight up.
Yeah.
That's the guy with the dog, yeah.
And the dogs would rule now too.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
2016.
no, there's nothing there.
Yeah, move along, there's nothing to see here.
201, which one?
2016.
That's way over here, though.
That's
Here.
teeny.
Gray,
Yeah.
Dorchester.
Yeah.
Dorchester.
36.
They've got some good
Oh, that's on
fields.
the right.
Oh, they do, yeah, that's right.
That's the
So-
one where they have
Is that
like-
Kevin Gray's parents? The house that's for sale?
It was Emmy Gray that lives there.
Well, Emmy lives,
Oh, she's in
Emmy lives
seven,
right at the
right?
top of the hill, and then her husband's parents have the house that they're trying to sell.
Yeah, that's this one.
Well, this is the
Yeah.
people that
It's
sell
like a
corn.
dump.
No, it's, well, it's right in there, but it's,
Yeah, Emmy's is 201.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I see, right, there's two people off that driveway, yeah, right.
Yeah, that's the bigger house, the older house, and this is the newer one,
Yeah.
This is small.
yeah.
1150 square.
So, looks like a lot of gallons per day. What are the building or conversion opportunities? opportunities.
So it's 1,150, and there's a lot of, there's a lot of coverage. Yeah, it is like a double wide. I mean, I think you could add on to that and create a second unit. Yep.
So, and what about a conversion? Could they do a conversion?
That would be how it'd be adding on a bit to that, because I don't think a lot of,
There's a lot of available
well,
coverage.
it's 2 acres there.
Yeah, they could go with it.
They could build another place or subdivide it.
I don't think what's the road
Frontage
frontage?
is, yeah, it's 225.
So it would have to be conversion
Yeah,
plus one?
yeah, plus one.
Oops.
So, what's,
2016.
Rick, what's your, one through conversion?
Plus one conversion. All right, 201, 31.1.
So, yeah, it's like 14 on the cotton and Tracy's looking here, so,
Oh.
Yeah.
So I would,
which already has.
she's got 2 units.
She can't do anything, it's got,
Well, she needs 7 new septic now.
but the gallons per day is 443, so she's done.
Wow, I didn't know it was that bad. I mean,
What's your metric for gallons
300 a
300.
unit,
per unit?
yeah.
And she's already got 2 units
Yeah,
there.
Plus
so
a
nothing.
base, right?
Excuse me?
Plus a base, right?
Yeah, I mean, she wanted to convert the
Plus some-
barn into stuff,
Isn't there a
and
base?
300.
300.
Okay, and there's something like that.
Right.
Yeah, 300.
Is it, you're figuring it's going to be, you have to account for general usage and then each bedroom. So, and it's 150 gallons for a bedroom,
Okay.
and so,
Two bases is different.
Right.
She's got a lot of bedrooms already in there.
yeah.
201, 118.
That's gonna be,
So,
Bob Thibodeau's right here,
Creamery Lane,
yeah,
they're pretty small in there, aren't they, already?
yeah, there's no real road frontage, it's all right of way to get out there.
Lot coverage again is 0.
Yeah, I don't know why.
What's the,
No, frontage is
Frontage is
0.
Oh, yeah, frontage is 0. The lot coverage is
18.
18.
48.
That's questionable.
He could put a ADU out there without a problem.
ADU and convert the house to two?
I think you could.
It's got septic.
Because I'm looking, I've been out, I've walked over there to
Right, so
bring him stuff and
Plus two?
plus
seen the
one,
property, so.
well, plus two, one conversion, one ADU. Okay. 201, 117.
That's the creamery, I would say that is done.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is, even though the septic, number isn't too bad, it is horrible.
Yeah.
I can just tell you that right now, that's,
I believe you. 40826.
The green one, north on the end.
Is there any frontage?
No frontage. No lot coverage.
408 here.
All right.
Most of it's outside of the zone.
yeah, I would say that one, you have United Delta Services
Oh,
in
that's,
front of it, and then it's behind.
Terry Baxter's.
How do you get
is
to-
that Terry Baxter?
Is there a house there?
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Let's,
You can't see it.
No, no, it's way,
that house could certainly be converted to, well, what's your, oh, they got plenty of, that house could handle 6 easily. I
So
would
plus
think.
5
Well,
conversion?
well, could it, hold on, what's the square footage on it?
Interesting. I gotta get to the, I gotta get to the piece of the link. I'm on just the,
You could go to their name, you know, change.
yeah.
Rich, is it the, because I'm not seeing the house on that one. for what
No.
Richard
It might
showed.
be, it might be the land, this is the house.
So
This
that's
is
just-
an eight,
There's a
this
lot of
is just-
acreage in front, and then the house
Is
is
in
in
the
more
back.
acreage in the back.
This
So,
simply said 8 acres.
Anyways, so.
How
ask
many
me- ask
square
me your
feet?
question. Okay, 4,300.
4,300 divided by, how many 750s you
It wouldn't
get?
quite get 5.
Almost 6.
Almost 6.
Yeah.
So five.
Also, remember, most of it's not in the common district, it's just a corner of it that was caught.
The land gets caught.
So, but they, so why don't we put this in parentheses, out, and, note outside district, but they could get, what did we say, 4 more?
Yep.
Yeah, plus 4, but it's outside the district. That's good to know about anyway. All right,
We get 5.
Five?
7, yeah.
Five total.
5.
total, 5 total, but
5
that's a
total,
plus 4.
plus 4, plus
Yeah.
4, yeah, right. Yep, yep.
20120. We can cross out 20151-1, by the way, because it's got 73 gallons per day.
22 market,
20120,
is 22 market,
okay.
Stedman,
Yeah.
That's a weird.
It's great, yeah, it's a weird, they have a strange frontage, but they've got really good soils, actually.
So they got good gallons.
They don't have much roof.
No.
So how many square feet
a
would be?
little like 2,500.
2,500. What do you think,
So
David?
that's 2 at least, right?
Yeah,
Plus
I think
one.
they could totally put a ADU back there.
So
Or
that's-
you
that's
convert
plus one.
Yeah.
Is that maximum?
And convert the house, right?
Yeah, I don't think they can subdivide because of the weird,
Could they get an extra place in the house?
I think they could do extra in the house, I agree with Vicky on the subdivision, because the driveway is shared already with another lot.
So
right, none of
could
the lots
could
are
they
2
get,
units.
could they add in the house and an ADU, or just, are we talking 1 or 2 add?
Our standard is 750.
Right.
Is that the
That's
lot
three.
coverage or the house is 2,500?
The lot coverage is, the house is probably 2,500, but the lot coverage is all of the buildings combined with, so there would be outbuildings included in that.
So why couldn't they get 3 total?
Maybe they could, yeah.
Yeah, I
They
think
could
they
do
could
plus
three.
So plus 2.
Yeah,
This is 20134?
yeah.
Or is that 220?
No.
20.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Plus 2. And is that conversion or what?
Yeah, conversion,
Yeah? Or,
because they couldn't subdivide, so,
okay.
So
yeah.
you do one conversion, one ADU.
Yeah, that's what I would say, is 1 conversion, 1 or anyway, 2 one way or another.
Yeah.
20134.
Oh, there it is.
8 pound common, Bergstrom?
Yeah, it's easier.
Oh, they got, I don't know, well,
That's not,
they can't do anything. They got 504 gallons per day.
it's not Wadsworth.
No, that's a condo,
Right, 6 on the common is condo.
okay,
So they can't do anything.
no.
They don't have 600. Okay, 20143.
Height, 28.
That one, I'm gonna say no on that, because it's just a very long and narrow lot,
Okay.
so it
They've
has.
already got 4 units in that building.
Yes, so they're
Yeah.
maxed out.
Yeah.
Okay. 20110.
18 Dorchester Road. Vote, Light.
Oh,
Yeah,
Doug Boyd.
Doug and Ian.
Yep.
I don't think you're gonna see it listed on the, it's the green square between 20111 and 2019. It's just not labeled.
The square footage.
1365.
1365.
There's a, it's referred to as a wet meadow, just to the west of the house.
Yeah, there's a stream that came down on that end as well.
So
Right, well,
So,
that's because of the stream, it's all wet meadow.
Yeah, but their garden space is really good.
The garden space is good. I
Yeah,
think
that
the-
Yeah.
uphill,
and the
So-
barn, I think, has a unit in the,
do they?
I know there's plumbing in the barn. and
Okay, so
power.
the occupancy is, yeah. Hmm,
There's plumbing and power in the
They
barn.
can do at least plus one.
yeah.
+1, that's not through conversion, that's just +1 because of the barn, or?
Well, if it, no,
The house is big, 1365.
Yeah, so,
They can do +1 just in the house.
okay.
and if the barn has, plumbing, I don't know how big the barn is, but, seems to me you could do
500 square feet.
500, nice, so one in the, convert the barn to an ADU, bump it up,
Oh, and more?
you'd have to bump it up in size a bit.
Yeah,
So what do we want to say on this?
Even that's plumbing and wiring.
it does, wiring.
So what
So
do
she
we,
makes
Plus two.
+2?
two, yeah, I.
All right, so one conversion, one ADU. Okay, what was that, 20110?
Mhm.
60 is the green leaf's been killing her, the
Oh,
killing house.
that's a big house.
Um,
But they might, yeah, they could add one.
Yeah, but that's just plus one because it's septic.
Right.
You got the stream in the backyard.
Yeah.
Conversion. 201-102.2,
That's only at 463 for septic.
yeah,
I
so
would-
forget it.
I would actually go down the
Yeah.
next three.
Yeah, cross it, so we're at 201-13.
Was it Market, Christine too?
No, that's, yeah.
3,100,
No roof?
16
Little bit, there's just a little bit.
So it's a conversion situation.
conversion.
Mhm.
How many?
3,100, so maybe +2. I don't know, the septic is pretty good.
That would,
Maybe over.
+2 would be, what, 2250 or something? Okay, so +2.
Let's do a conversion.
Yeah.
Most of these
All
are.
right.
Do we have any subdivided ones?
Not many.
No.
All right, so the next two are no good. So we're on to the next page, congratulations.
Okay.
Page 10.
You were almost out of the threes.
All right, 20199, 938. Yeah,
11's Orchester, Bayer.
Second one up on the left.
Same issue with,
They've got the stream running right behind the house.
Right,
Yeah.
that's a no.
They're compromised with
Okay.
their
And then-
septic.
yeah.
Okay, so no.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no.
20140,
Price, what price, 32 median?
Yep. Down south.
Just-
That's the Princess House.
If you look at the library lot, which is attached to one, go 2 lots down, it goes, again, it's one of those narrow lots that go back
Yeah.
a fair distance.
Occupancies too.
do you have an ADU or something?
They must,
I think so. I know he does a rental or something.
yep.
3,300.
So 2 would take us to 600, he's got another, just on the gallons per day, he could do 2 more. No, I mean,
They've got
yeah,
two.
he's got 2, and just according to the gallons per day, he could do 2 more, but I don't know if there's any compromise.
I don't know what the back of the lot looks like. I've never been out, I need one of these days to
Anybody-
walk up the
anybody
big
been
rock
there?
trail and.
No,
We wanna play it safe and say +1, or?
say +1.
Through conversion?
Yeah,
Some of that's really wet back there, but I don't know about their
Okay.
backyard particularly.
right, that's.
201-128.2. Boy, they got a lot of gallons per day.
Katie Jenks, that's Katie.
Yeah.
What address?
You have a golf course there.
27.
Yeah, that one,
There's a seasonal swamp,
Yeah.
lot behind it.
That's a weird shit.
Seasonal swamp.
It's the Katie Jenks in
Yeah.
the spring, but behind it.
So we wanna just leave that, or,
no, it's, well, it's a vacant lot right now.
Oh,
it is?
Yes,
What happened?
it's a vacant lot.
There's two under that lot.
Oh.
Yeah, there's the vacant lot, and then there's the house.
Oh, so this could be built on,
Yeah,
It's a subdivided lot.
is
Yes.
that right?
separate lot.
Yeah, it's
So-
a separate subdivided lot, and
so-
it most likely is going to get built on in the next year,
And what could get done there?
just +1.
Plus one?
That whole back area there was a sand pit. If you go just across from the highway garage and look in, you'll see just a large hole. That was the original road to get into the sand pit there.
Okay,
On the backside where that, where majority of that flatness is all fill, which is not suitable for building on.
so that could get one new building.
It can get,
Could it get an ADU as well? or-
I think you'd be pushing it.
Okay, so one new. 201, all
They're
right, let me, no.
Patty is looking at building a new house there for herself.
Okay.
Let's just have two more, get done with,
Yeah, they just wanted to note that it's 9.
get done with the threes, we gotta accomplish.
All right,
something.
201-46, 415, that's an X. We can't do anything there.
Yep.
201-51.2.
Right down
So 11 and
way
13,
south there.
11 and 13 Union.
Adam Patridge, and then, so that's Norm Wakely's old house and the house behind.
all right, 51.1 is Packard, and 51.2 is Davis's.
Anybody know that place?
Yeah.
And what's your takeaway?
Which one are you talking about
They
first?
subdivided
51.2.
Well, you know, there's a steep slope between those two houses, because
Yeah.
Packard's is down low and Davis's is
But,
up
The
high.
big-
I don't know how
The
far,
big
I
rock
don't know,
garden that goes up there.
no,
I don't know how far back it goes, though.
they took like about 3 years to review the house. It was the White House, Norm Wakely's old place.
What's the square footage?
The Davises have the mailbox on the wrong side of the road.
So they got 2,800, and just according to gallons per day, they could get 3. Is that a +2, or is there compromising?
Norm Wakely's house, you should be able to put,
This
I
is-
think
this is-
so.
This is, we're
Patridge's.
talking about the Davis's house, though.
this Davis, I don't
51.2.
know, I don't know the house. All I know is that that was subdivided from the Wakely property and.
I think you could at least get one.
At least one?
I
The
think-
Davises?
Yeah,
So you wanna play it safe and say +1 conversion?
yeah.
Okay. 201, oh, wait, that's the end of the threes.
Yeah.
What, you
I'm
want to go?
done.
All right.
So, excuse me,
Yeah.
I've got a process concern, and it's got to do with, we talked about going through and doing it lot by lot, owner by owner, just as we've been doing.
Yeah.
But we didn't, at the end of the day, we're not going to necessarily report out in that fashion.
No, we're not. We decided we wouldn't.
Yeah, and so my concern frankly, and I know this is a public meeting, I also know it's being recorded.
Yeah.
So my concern really now is, someone goes back, looks through, watches and says, oh,
I guess to the best of my ability, I'll address that. We are not doing this as a definitive exercise.
I know.
We're doing this, so these are not reliable numbers.
It's just a sort of an observation concern.
Yeah.
Of course,
I-
it's
I-
an,
I-
It's
These
a-
are walk-by
it's an
swags with a little bit of
I
inside
think-
knowledge.
I think
but-
maybe just for the.
for the record.
For the record.
This
and
is
minutes
an,
and-
this is an exercise in general assumptions.
Right.
It's a-
These are not site-specific reliable,
Thank you.
If anything,
It's an-
we've
it's an est- it's an
overestimated,
estimate.
right?
what's that?
If anything, we've overestimated the ability of,
I don't know.
well,
Well, I think the septic,
Is it pretty reliable?
it's fairly reliable, but I still,
but not reliable. We already saw,
Well, you're-
we've seen examples where the numbers on the gallons per day would indicate that you could
Right.
do a lot, and because of personal observation, it was clear that wasn't true.
And you also, you know, the number was based on the observed soil on the surface.
I'm not questioning, I'm not
No,
questioning.
no, I'm saying that
All I'm
So,
concerned.
yeah, but to your point,
This is for Rich's audience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, no, for anyone else,
Right.
so I think there needs to be one qualification
the
to the
qualification.
camera and qualification to the minutes.
Yes.
Such that we basically say the same thing.
Yeah.
The planning board worked on this, and it's a scoping exercise.
It's a scoping exercise, it is not reliable,
Well, it's not meant to definitively,
it is not.
Characterize any lot.
yeah.
It-
We don't,
it
we
is
don't
a
have
not
complete
reliable-
information, we can't make it complete.
All I'm suggesting is we put that verbiage in.
It's
the
not,
minutes.
it's
We put
not a
every-
reliable per lot
Yes.
analysis.
Yeah, whatever we wanna call it.
Right.
All I want or suggest.
And
is
we
that
are
the minutes-
applying a lot of creativity to this too, because we all know,
We,
people can come up with 100
we
ways to
acknowledge
do
what you
something
have
on their
said,
property
Mr.
that we know may not
Mr.
even
Chairman,
think
and it will be, your will
Reflected in the
will be
minutes.
reflected in the minutes.
Thank you.
about. No, I had the same queasiness from the get-go.
From the get-go, yeah, you did, you did.
Because I've been through a similar exercise where all of a sudden
So-
everybody's
Taking a motion
blowing
to
the
adjourn.
court.
No, everybody's running out. Yeah, no, we're done. I don't care whether you don't wanna leave.
John, before you go,
I don't care if anybody watching the video, but this is not who you are.
Yeah, but a lot of times it's on principle, is that they don't want people saying,
you don't mind seeing-
are you looking in the window trying to figure out whether or not?
What's the date?
today's the
How
11th.
do you know that I have?
I will make a photocopy of that and submit it to you.
I've been through it,
I'm just, I have it.
All right, Rich. I signed it.
No, I just wanna make sure that it was clear that it's because it's not within 5 days, that it's, as of, as
That happens all the time, so what's in your thinking?
that there's a date submitted to the application applicant, I'm filling that out today, so.
I have it right now, yes. Start over.
This is, I guess this is mine too.
Just the way the world is.
Is that off?
I will cause it to be off.